When you can't make it to City Hall or the school board meetings, local journalists from Duluth News-Tribune will be there to report the facts and get your questions answered. Local news works for you. Stay up to date at DuluthNewsTribune.com.
Hello, Northlanders. It's Wednesday, July 24th. I'm Wyatt Buckner with the Duluth News-Tribune Minute, presented by Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union.
The average MPECU member saves over $785 a year in better rates and lower fees. And with MPECU, every ATM is your ATM. With their free checking program, you get ATM fee reimbursements at any ATM anywhere in the U.S. Check out Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union services online at mpecu.com or visit their offices in downtown Duluth, Arrowhead Road, or Miller Trunk Highway.
Now here's today's headlines. Marcus Sjoberg, a former Northlander residing in North Carolina, seems to have thoroughly impressed the lead of the current season of ABC's reality dating show, The Bachelorette. Jen Tran, a New Jersey woman planning a career as a physician assistant, invited Sjoberg on her first one-on-one date in the second episode of the series, which aired last week. The two went skydiving, an activity very familiar to Sjoberg from his years serving as a U.S. Army Ranger. Tran, who had never skydived before, said she appreciated Sjoberg's support. Over dinner at the State Library Victoria in Melbourne, Australia, Sjoberg spoke about being seriously injured due to a grenade explosion while he was deployed in Afghanistan. That date resulted in a rose, a sign from Tran that she intended to keep Sjoberg in contention for at least another round. Sjoberg received yet another rose in the ceremony concluding episode 3, which aired Monday. That leaves Sjoberg among just 12 contestants from the initial 25 men vying for Tran's affection. Notably, Sjoberg has avoided being swept up in the spats that have engulfed the cast. Rivalries are a typical source of drama on the well-established show, but contestants who become too concerned with their competition risk alienating the woman they're ostensibly there to impress. During an episode 3 group date that required men to perform a striptease, Sjoberg won grins and applause with an athletic astronaut character playing on his long-standing fascination with space exploration. Meanwhile, other contestants mocked and sniped at one another. The conversations aired to date have made very little mention of Sjoberg's life outside his army service. Sjoberg's parents live in Carleton, and his educational background includes study at Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College in Cloquet. He's enrolled at Harvard College, where he plans to graduate in 2025. Season 21 of The Bachelorette continues on ABC at 7 p.m. Monday, July 29th. A northern St. Louis County man who fired shots toward his ex-fiancée and 3 other people has been sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. Gary Jensen, 56, of Greenwood Township, received the sentence Monday in State District Court after being convicted of several felonies, including attempted murder and assault. Judge Robert Friday granted a defense motion for a below-guideline prison sentence, but denied another request to stay the prison time in favor of probation. Jensen, who had no prior criminal history, faced a presumptive term of nearly 17 years. Court documents show the incident occurred while the victims were attempting to retrieve the woman's belongings from Jensen's home at 2333 Paradise Point Road along Lake Vermilion after he had asked her to move out. St. Louis County Sheriff's deputies were called to the residence around 6:50 p.m. December 19, 2022, on a report that he had fired at 2 occupied vehicles as they attempted to flee from the scene. A criminal complaint said Jensen had been silently watching before he suddenly began throwing objects, including a hose that struck his ex-fiancée. When one of the men intervened, Jensen reportedly hit him in the face and then went into the house to retrieve a pistol, which he pointed at another man's head. Jensen, according to the complaint, then shot out a tire on the woman's truck, causing all 4 people to hurry into the trucks and leave. The defendant fired several more rounds as they drove away, shattering the rear cab window of one truck. Jensen reportedly told investigators that he, quote, probably brandished the gun, end quote, and, quote, may have taken a swing, end quote, at one of the men who had previously beaten him. However, he claimed he had the gun pointed over the victim's shoulder and that all of his shots, other than the one that damaged the woman's truck, were intended to be in the air and not at the fleeing vehicles. Court filings indicate Jensen denied being intoxicated, but a blood draw taken nearly 4 hours after the incident placed his blood alcohol concentration at 0.134. A Virginia jury in June found Jensen guilty of all 7 charges he faced, including 6 felonies, 2 counts of attempted intentional second-degree murder, 4 counts of second-degree assault, and a gross misdemeanor count of domestic assault. In seeking leniency, the defense submitted nearly 30 letters of support from Jensen's family, friends, neighbors, work associates, and other members of the community, including some family members of the victims. But Assistant St. Louis County Attorney Aaron Welch urged the judge to deny Jensen's motions and impose the guideline term. Judge Friday imposed concurrent terms of 90 months on the attempted murder convictions, with lesser sentences on the assault charges to also be served at the same time. Jensen, who has been free on bond and has credit for only 11 days served, will be required to spend at least 5 years in custody, with the remaining time on supervised release. Now here's a look at your forecast, brought by the News Tribune's Northlandia podcast.
Good morning, this Duluth area forecast. We're in for a warming trend, mostly sunny today with a high in the low 70s with an east wind around 5 to 10. Generally clear tonight with temps dropping down into the low 50s. Tomorrow will be sunny with temps making a run at 80 degrees in the afternoon. Very little wind, beautiful day on Thursday. And then Friday will become breezy with temperatures climbing into the middle 80s, upper 80s likely by the weekend. I'm Storm Tracker meteorologist John Wheeler.
Thank you to the Northlandia podcast for their support. The bi-weekly podcast explores curious and unique stories here in the Northland. The latest episode explores the stone fortress of Douglas County, currently for sale. You can find that episode and others at DuluthNewsTribune.com, or wherever you also get this podcast. Reporting for today's episode was done by Jay Gabler and Tom Olson. Thank you for listening to Duluth News Tribune Minute. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.